Welcome to the Jade Pika podcast. This is this is a continuation of the series that we began.
Yeah.
A dive into the first point, which is social media marketing strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
This particular one, we're looking at how to make your social media marketing strategy effective.
Well, yeah. It's pretty much the foundation of your strategy. Like, how do you think about your strategy?
Yeah.
Before you actually dive in. Remember, we said you either have a good strategy or a bad strategy, but no such thing as no strategy.
Yeah.
We should open up a boy band. We said that
do
at the
what?
same time. So
But why boy band?
It's giving,
oh my word!
It's giving boy band a poem.
Yeah.
Cadet.
AIDS.
Yeah. No, stop.
AIDS is bad. It
Stop.
killed my mother. It killed my father.
Stop. If everyone
Okay.
gives that example when they're trying to talk about poems in high school.
Yeah, it's great. It's part of our culture. Anyway,
is the
before we
worst.
dive in, first question that we'll ask one of our co-hosts.
This is not an interview.
Yeah, it's definitely not an interview.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have discussed is how advertising has gone into a wrong realm, right? Which is in the past, like adverts were actually things you actually sat through. Now is something that you can't wait to scroll through.
Mm-hmm.
Share some of your thoughts in regards to where current ads are.
So, firstly, I like to give the distinction that people were forced to watch ads because that's all you had on television.
Yeah.
Like, if you think back on like ZNBC, how that, like, especially if you didn't have DSTV, ZNBC is all you had. So you had to sit through adverts because there's no other channel that you're going to switch to. You're not going to, like we do here, switch to a different YouTube channel when you
Even
see an
fast
ad or
forward.
just scroll past. You had to watch those ads. So that's a good thing to note in terms of the way people consumed ads then versus now. But I think old ads, especially old Western ads, were less conservative with their creative. They were willing to go past the bounds of what normal looks like. So in that sense, they stood out and they were more funny. They were more interesting because people really, really paid attention to it. And I think the coming in of social media has changed that because people consume content in different ways than they used to before. You find companies now have a whole content strategy that's not really an ad. Before, all they had was like ads to make people buy their products.
Yeah.
But definitely the old ads seem like they were more creative than now. They were less concerned about
With this
company image.
Yeah.
Will this ruin our reputation?
With this losers viewers.
Exactly. And because of that, it just made it more funny and more engaging and more pleasurable to watch. So I think there should be a good mix now of leaning into that boldness, but at the same time still paying attention to the modern way that people consume content. I don't know if I've answered your question. Or I'm just
you've
speaking
answered
through
my question.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Firstly, we'll be building a house before you invite your guests in. Your guests being your audience, the people who will come and buy from you, right? Now, this is social media. You're about to have people interact with you on your platforms. How do you build a house that's actually pleasant, that will have people and support your business and retain your audience? So first things first, we'll start with the foundation. And here we'll have 3 points.
Big.
Let's begin. You can go first.
Okay. So yeah, like your house obviously starts with the foundation. So what are some of the foundational aspects of your social media strategy? Number one, you have to know where you're going. What are you aiming for? What's your goal? What's your objective? Start there, right? So we're making a social media strategy. What are we trying to achieve at the end of the day? What does success look like for us, right? Are we trying to get more brand awareness? Are we trying to get more engagement? Are we trying to get in more sales? So whatever your goals are, you should be able to articulate them and know them as you make your strategy so that you can sort of know where you're heading and know what success will look like at the end of the day.
Yeah. You generally need direction for you to go anywhere, right? a man moves in no direction, he won't arrive anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So goals, objectives can be, like you had mentioned, the number of sales that you want to make. And this is necessary because it informs how you're going to handle or how you're going to build this house.
Yes.
Right? The number of sales that you're aiming for. One of the things that we promise our clients when we're about to get them is that we're going to 10x your business, right? Whatever value that you give us, your monthly value, we're going to do it by 10 by the time that we're done with you, right? So if we get a client and
that's a goal.
Yes,
right?
it is a goal. Yes,
okay,
yes.
not a promise.
It's not a promise. No,
Okay.
it's a goal. For us, it's a goal when we're making the strategy, right? So, if we find a client and they're grossing 700,000 kwacha per month,
Yes.
right? We are saying by the time that we're done with you, based off the strategy that we're going to make, we're going to leave you at 1 million,
Our
7 million.
goal.
Yes,
to
our
leave-
goal is to leave you.
I say that because as good as marketing is never a guarantee.
Yeah.
The best of the best marketers, the Apples, the Amazons will tell you there's things that they've tried that just have failed because like the market reacted the way the market reacted. And COVID was one of the things that showed us that nothing is ever a guarantee.
Yeah.
And people expect that from marketers actually. Like, you have to guarantee me X,
Yes, if you
Y,
tell
and
me
Z.
that you give me
But sometimes
2,000,
the market reacts
I'm
the way
waiting
the
for
market
2,000.
reacts.
Yeah.
Right? So that distinction is important. The goal that we set for our clients is to say, listen, when we come and work with you as a business, our
Yeah.
goal is to 10x your business.
Yeah.
That's where we find the real value. That's where we find our why. And that's the fuel that drives us
Yeah.
to sort of achieve what we want to achieve for your business. But that was important
Yeah,
about
yeah,
goals.
yeah.
I think the second for me would be your target audience
Yeah.
or your core group. Very, very important that you know who they are.
Yeah.
Early on in your strategy, you have to know, okay, who are we speaking to?
Yeah.
Who exactly does our
What are
business
their
fit?
needs?
Exactly.
What do they want?
Exactly. Once you know your brand fundamentals, one key thing in there has to be your core group, right?
Yeah.
When you know them, you include them in the strategy. Say, okay, we're looking for this type of buyer.
Yeah.
So this is how we'll speak to them. This is where we'll chase them down. This is where we'll follow them. And that then is a core element
Yeah.
of your strategy.
Yeah. What are they doing? How are they talking? When are they online? What are they checking online?
Yes.
What's consuming? Are they family people? Right? Are they single people? Right? Are they couples? Right? All those questions are necessary. Are they male? Are they female? When you have that information, it's necessary because it literally will then dictate how your house will look like.
Yes.
Right? What kind of content you actually put out, because you'll be
It's a
targeting them.
foundational
Yes.
thing. It's a stone. It's concrete for the house that you're building.
Yes. Like an example was when we were working with a company, right, that was selling male accessories, right? One of the things from the demographic that was actually buying the most, they were female, right? Even though it was male accessories.
Yes.
Now the question is, do you then make it a female page, right? Knowing that it's more females who are buying. And the issue is, what is bringing the females already? It's the fact that it looks very manly. And so they are thinking, oh, I want to buy something.
For my man.
Yes, for my man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the most manly place.
Yes.
So that means you have to double down, right? You have to double down on how manly it looks. But also not manly to the extent where the females that don't like a certain type of man, but the man that females are like, yeah, that's who a man is, because you have seen your demographic. So having your target audience and knowing how they are will literally is very fundamental to your way the content tool. The third one is platform selection, obviously.
Exactly. Now that you have your goals, now that you know your target audience or your core group, the answer is, okay, where do I find these? Where do I find this core group? And after where you find them, you're like, okay, which platform is most likely to help me achieve the goals that I've set? Now, I'm a firm believer in being on all the platforms because you generally find your audience in all the platforms.
Yeah.
Some of them use more of another platform than another. But I think, yes, it's important that you pick all the platforms. But where I would emphasize is okay, which platform do you choose to put more resources into over another? And that's where it's important about platform selection. If your core audience is more on LinkedIn than every other platform,
then put in LinkedIn.
It's important that you put a lot of resources into LinkedIn, but you still remain available in the other platform, but not as much resource because there's not as much of your core group in that specific area. So platform selection is, it's definitely a fundamental issue that falls into your social media strategy.
Yeah. Generally, there's already research done on the value that you would get on each platform.
Yeah.
Some research will show that Facebook seems to be more lucrative than Instagram and TikTok, right? Facebook, then Instagram, and some of the least is TikTok in terms of conversions. So brand awareness, you'd notice that TikTok it's got the numbers, right? Because TikTok, you're able to have something viral, it's like 19 million see it, right? Wow. So with your goals and what you're trying to achieve, you're able to know which platform will get you what results. Brand awareness, TikTok has got a bigger reach in regards to reaching many accounts and having more viral posts and the like compared to Instagram and Facebook. Conversion, you're trying to look for more conversions. It's shown Facebook seems to have got a higher conversion rate than Instagram. But it also depends on the industry, because on some industries, Instagram has got a higher conversion rate. So being able to know from your goals, what direction you want to go, what objectives you have, you'll be able to know what platform gets you certain things. And like if you're trying to get leads, you're trying to get into certain spaces, right? Like for example, you get into the corporate world, right? LinkedIn is where all the corporates are. So you need to be able to engage with all those people and the like. So within that space, what your objectives, what are your goals? They'll dictate what platforms you pick.
100%.
Yeah. After we deal with the foundation, right? The 3 points, we've dealt with them. 3 points: goals and objectives, target audience, and platform selection.
Yes.
Now that our foundation is set, we move on to the walls of our house.
The walls and the windows.
Yeah. Walls and windows.
Yeah. So for this one, so good, you have your foundation, you know sort of the direction that you're going.
Yeah.
Now it comes to, okay, what's my content strategy? How do I speak to the core audience that I know I want to target? What way should I speak to help me achieve the goals that I have set out? What way should I speak to be contextual to the platform that I've decided to go with? That's why it's important that you have those foundations, because it defines what content that you make. So once you have those, you make sure that, okay, this is my content strategy. Say maybe we're doing more videos. If we're doing more videos, what sort of videos are we talking about? Are we talking funny videos? Are we talking educative videos? Are we talking inspirational videos? Are we talking about videos that agitate people? Are we talking about videos that make people happy? So if you understand your foundation, you now know that, okay, this is our content strategy, and this is how we'll run with it. This is how we'll spread out our content. This is how we'll show up. This is how many times we'll show up. This is when we'll show up. All those things go to the meat of your content strategy. You know which resources to buy. Like maybe you need an extra camera. Maybe you need extra resources. You need extra people for you to achieve the content strategy that fits well with the foundation that you've set up. And it defines whether you go with epic content. It defines whether you go with content that could make you go viral, because your goal is to, for brand awareness, right? So that's a key wall and a key component of the wall that you're building in your social media strategy. Your content strategy. One of the things that was said about Disney is that Disney forgot that the ones who have got the power over the remote are the parents. So then the things that they were putting out were making parents turn off the TV, right? Their agendas and all these things that they were pushing were making parents turn off the TV. Very few parents would keep it on, and hence they were losing viewership, right? And so if, for example, you are, let's say, a cake business, and you have observed that people are usually buying birthday cakes, anniversary cakes, right? And just general appreciation cakes. What you want, knowing that this is usually your audience, the people who actually come from you, is play with birthday content. Play with anniversary content. Right? Play with general appreciation content. You have relatable things that, look at what my friends are doing.
right?
Yeah.
Or like look at what other people are doing for their friends. You know, you can play with that kind of content to create a more relatable experience. You can play with couple content. That couple content is like a heavy sale.
Yes.
Because love is something that is very innate to all of us. We all, in one way or another, we have a relationship with love, right? And so go out and do that kind of content because you already know your target audience. You already know the platforms and the kind of content that you will find on these platforms. So your content strategy should then reflect
fit into your main strategy.
Yes.
Yeah. A second point would be your ad strategy, right? This is also another issue of the war, right? So your ad strategy is how you're going to promote your content to reach more people, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about running ads on Facebook. We're talking about running ads on LinkedIn. We're talking about running ads on YouTube, Instagram,
Yeah.
all those things that can help your content reach more people so that you have more people coming into your business. And this also ties down to what's your goal.
Yeah.
If you're trying to reach more people, obviously you have to pay a bit for
bit
Facebook to push it out to more people so that more people can come into your core group. And then from your core group, they can then convert to make the sale. So your ad strategy is how much you're going to put in. What's your budget, right? On which platform? How are you going to spread it out? Are you going to put 5% into Facebook? Are you going to put 20% into Facebook? That's why, again, it's important for your platform selection.
Yeah.
This defines how much you're going to put into each and every one of those platforms that you have online. And not only that, it goes into which content you select for your ad. Because remember, one thing about an ad is that your creative has to be as right as the money that you're putting behind it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can put money behind it, but you don't have the correct creative, so it doesn't reach many people and it's not as effective.
Can't relate.
And sometimes you can have good creative content or good art, but you don't put enough money behind it, so it doesn't do as well as it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So those two things really have to sort of commingle and work with each other for something to be effective as an ad strategy.
Yeah. And the great thing with most platforms is that they actually allow you to tailor the people who will be reached with your ads. You literally have literally have the options of even getting your followers, people who have already shown intent, and putting them into the platform.
Yes.
And from that, the platform will run through those people and see the kind of people you have placed, then reach. So platforms allow you to have this kind of selection or more precision in reaching your target audience, right? But also remember that there's a difference between advertising and just general marketing, right? In advertising, and also there's a difference between content marketing and advertising.
100%.
Right? Because the kind of content you're putting out to build trust and to build an audience is not necessarily an advert.
Yeah.
Because adverts, you need to, you're calling to action, right? You are calling people to do something after they see it.
Yeah.
And the problem is sometimes someone will get a piece of content. It did maybe they got 20K, right?
Yes.
And they just boost that. It's not calling anyone to anything. All they have just seen is, sponsored post. And they have just seen someone maybe talk about something.
Yes.
And they wonder, okay, interesting video, and they move past it.
Yeah.
You haven't advertised, right? Because you're supposed to push, at that point, you're supposed to push product, obviously in a creative and relatable way, something that will actually captivate the audience, but to bring them into making, to doing an action.
Yeah.
Either make a conversion, sign up for something, they'll interact with your business in a way that you are choosing them to, right? So your ad strategy should be on a matter of what has worked, what has actually been enticing. Content marketing allows you to test the waters.
Yes.
What seemed to get the most engagement? Then you now use that formula to create something impactful that will get people in. So
100%.
you need to work with that.
Yeah. Point 3 would be your metrics and your analytics. Some people think metrics is analytics. I do too. It's just a fancy way of saying the same thing.
Well.
But it's important that you start with what success looks like for you, right? And you quantify it. So you say, okay, if your goal is engagement, you say, okay, we need to get this sort of engagement, or this engagement rate, or this click-through rate, or this conversion rate, all those things. Like, you list down your goals in terms of metrics so that you're able to then come back and say, okay, how have we performed against the metrics that we set for ourselves? Like your customer quick acquisition cost. You should know what it is. You should put it as your goal. And then you come back and say, okay, how did we perform against this metric? It's very important that businesses are always tracing the metrics because it's an indicator of how effective your general marketing is. It's an indicator of how people are interacting with your business, with your brand. It's an indicator of whether people are loyal to your brand or whether
they're upset
when they're upset with your brand. It can be an indicator of a customer service issue. Some people don't know how their customer service interacts with their clientele, right? You don't know that actually the person that you put as your sales rep is rude to your clients, and maybe he doesn't do what he's been told to. But if you're studying the matrix, you can tell like, there's something wrong here. How come these metrics were high in this week and now they've gone down? Is there a specific customer service issue that I need to think about? Is there a way that we're showing up that
changed?
Yes. Is there a way that we're showing up that's rubbing people off the wrong way? And sometimes it can be a good thing to say, okay, we tried this type of content and this is the reaction from the people. This is what the metrics are showing us. So maybe we need to double down on the things that are working and close off the things that are not.
It's true. And this is one of the places that social media just shines because a billboard, flyers, you can't do a conversion rate. Like it's like, when they're buying, did you come to buy because you got a flyer?
Or did you see the billboard?
Did you see the billboards? But social media, they're probably asking through a comment. They're probably asking even through the links that the boosted posts have, so you can actually see who's coming through based off what you are putting out there.
100%.
Right? So checking the metrics, checking the analytics, right? You would know what is performing, what is bringing the most engagement, right? You know what is doing well, what's not. And from that, coming to now the last point, which is the roof, right? From that, where you're monitoring, right? You're actually monitoring how you are performing and you're adjusting your strategy accordingly.
Yeah, this one is key. Iteration. So if you're going about your strategy and you're looking at the matrix, you're looking at the analytics, and you see, okay, something is not working, you have to quickly iterate and make a way for something to work. You get what I mean? It doesn't make sense for the data to be showing you, okay, this is not working, and your customers are giving you feedback, this is not working, but you're still going with the same formula. One thing that's important in your strategy, you have to have an iteration strategy. Say, okay, let's try this. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, let's move another way. Or, okay, if it does, let's optimize on that. Let's double down on this and make sure that we're showing up in the same way to achieve bigger results and better results. And also another thing that's big in social media is trial and error. People are very shy to try things and fail and see what works. And when you try and fail, that's where you find your specific magic. So different businesses and different content creators are different. So a lot of people just like to go with what's working, to go with what everyone else is doing. But you can find real magic in trying something, seeing how it reacts. And if it doesn't, you just stop it. But if it does, you would have found a specific pot of gold that you can run with and can bring major traction for your business. So optimization and iteration is a big one. So that's a real roof right there.
That's a real roof. So you have your house now. You have your foundation, which is the goals, objectives. You have your target audience. You have your platform selection. You have your walls, which is the content strategy, advertising strategy, matrix and analytics, right? And you have your roof, which is optimization and iteration, right? With this, you can now actually go and invite people into your home
100%.
And you know they will stay if you have actually done it well.
100%. Right? That is your social media strategy template. Everything else works out of this whole house that you've built. Now you can talk about fittings. Now you can talk about, these are the towels that I want. Now you can talk about, I actually want this sort of windows, this sort of lighting and other things when you have your house down. So whether you're doing like a wooden wall or like a concrete wall or like a brick wall. If it's red bricks, if it's gray, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You have to have your foundation down. So that has been your social media marketing strategy. Thanks for listening to the Jade Pika podcast. Follow Open Roof wherever you need to follow Open Roof,
And show up for next week's episode.
Oh,
because
you know what I mean? People, you know what people don't do? They don't tell people enough to not follow them. If they're not
like if
for
you
them.
don't, like don't
if,
come and
if we're
say,
not for you,
we shouldn't have listened to this podcast. I don't
my
do
dear,
that, right?
my dear, don't follow.
It's just why you go
move along. But if you
Yeah.
think this is valuable for you, I will be doing more of this.
Yeah.
We like to go in depth to help the business owner that wants to go further.
Of course. And next week we're looking at the interior deco, right?
No,
we're
we're
not.
not.
Give its title. Well, excuse
We're
me.
not going or not talking. The house thing is over.
What do you mean the house thing is over? It's a brilliant illustration. I wish you double down on it. Interior deco, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, go out there, put in the work because your business deserves it.
Of course, it deserves it.
Peace and love.